The California condor, with an average wingspan of over 10 feet, doesn't flap its wings. Instead, it relies on wind currents and updrafts to glide and soar above us.
The Los Angeles Zoo is located in the entertainment capital of the world, and because of that, the zoo has very stiff competition for its share of visitors. But after you've spent a day here, you can see why this zoo attracts almost 2 million people each year.
Adventure Island is the LA Zoo's newest exhibit, and it's perfect for children of all ages. The only thing is, though, that you really, really have to see it from here.
Adventure Island is made up of 5 major exhibits, each one representing a different animal environment of the American Southwest. Each area is enhanced by state-of-the-art interactive devices that enable children to learn by doing. Imagine comparing your sense of smell with that of a bear.
Strawberry.
Or playing hopscotch on his footprints and hearing him growl. In the bat cave, the walls reveal hidden animals. Or how about a chance to come face to face with a prairie dog?
The traditional role of zoos was to display animals for people's amusement. But because of the catastrophic effects mankind has had on his environment, today the zoo's role in conservation is essential. This Condor exhibit is an innovative way to explain the plight of the California condor. The innovation is that there are no condors on display.
In the beginning part of the program, the zoo came under some criticism for accused of trying to get the condors in from the wild to increase their ticket sales at the gate. We felt that the only way to avert that criticism is to have an off-exhibit breeding compound for the birds, and also to make sure that at least in our first attempts to breed these birds, that there are no confounding factors of disturbance or distractions from being on display.
In 1987, the future of the California condor in the wild was bleak. The mortality rate far exceeded the birth rate. Pesticides were rendering the shells of their young too weak to withstand its mother's nesting. Birds died of lead poisoning from ingesting the bullets of hunted carrion, and the occasional human being couldn't resist the urge to kill. The LA Zoo and the San Diego Zoo joined forces to begin the California Condor Recovery Program. But their decision to retrieve all 27 remaining condors from the wild stirred up a huge controversy.
One camp said, "How can you dare bring those condors into captivity? How can you dare incarcerate those animals? What kind of a cruel and unusual punishment are you foisting on them?" And the other side said, "It doesn't take any heavy mathematics to understand that we're losing condors at 2.5 birds a year. And if we have less than 30 out there, you can sit here and figure out even on your fingers and toes how long they're going to last."
The critics were proven wrong in 1988 when the first condor chick hatched in captivity at the San Diego Zoo. In March of 1989, the LA Zoo celebrated their first condor birth.
We've seen two things occur. In captivity, the wild birds that were brought in have relaxed enough to breed for us, and the young birds that were brought in or hatched in captivity from eggs brought in from the wild have now reached, most of them have reached maturity, and they're beginning to produce for us as well. We've had the birds go from 27 birds in 1987 in captivity to now numbering 40, depending on what we see for fertility next year and how the season goes. We may be able to double our production at least for next year. If that occurs, then we'll probably be releasing birds by 1992 very easily.
And that is the ultimate goal of this program, to release these majestic creatures back into the wild, so it may soar above us and be a constant reminder of what we would have lost.
Coming up, rebirth of a zoo.
In the last 10 years, Atlanta has proven itself from the ashes. And Zoo Atlanta is a prime example of that tradition.
Visitors to Zoo Atlanta are immediately impressed with its naturalistic habitats, lush tropical foliage, and African-inspired architecture and signage. It's difficult to imagine that this place was any other way.
There were animals in cages. It was dirty. It was small. It was really not a great zoo.
It was on the list of the 10 worst zoos in the country, and the American Association of Zoological Parks and Aquariums stripped the Atlanta Zoo of its accreditation. It was at that point, in 1984, that Parks Commissioner Carolyn Hatcher had a fateful meeting with Mayor Andrew Young.
I remember once when he said to me, well, Carolyn, it's great to worry about the animals and fix up that zoo, but how about all the other problems? And to try to put it in the context of there are people who don't have enough to eat, who don't have jobs. Why is a zoo important? And it was very easy for me to say, well, but first of all, because it's here. And my attitude was, we should either fix it up or close it down.
Armed with her infectious enthusiasm, she drummed up the necessary financial and community support to save the zoo. But the harder task was to find the right person to lead this renaissance. An extensive search led her to a professor from Georgia Tech.
They asked me to stay on for about 3 months to try to stabilize the situation and provide new leadership until the real zoo director showed up. And now it's been 6 years and he hasn't showed up yet, so I don't know when he's going to come rescue me.
In the spring of 1961, a 3-year-old lowland gorilla arrived in Atlanta from the wilds of Central Africa. He became known as Willie B. In those days, zoos were not as enlightened as they are today, and for the next 27 years, Willie B lived behind bars.
Charles Horton has been with Willie B 16 years, longer than any of his other keepers.
Well, when I first started taking care of Willie in the old building that we just had a bare floor with tile, and Willie had a very small world, and I think we felt obligated to be his social life over the years, since he never had anybody.
And when the first phase of Zoo Atlanta's renovations were completed, Willie B got his new home at the Ford African Rainforest.
Getting Willie outside for the first time, it had to be the best day so far of my life here at the zoo. I mean, we had never, I would have never dreamed it was possible, even maybe 2 years before that. The fact that we can give him an identity of his own and not just like our personal pet or our mascot is, it's very dignifying to finally give an animal what he deserves.
As Willie adapted to his new surroundings, he not only lost 40 pounds, he began exhibiting more instinctive behavior. But would that newfound behavior prevail when introduced to a potential mate?
We did maybe 2 months of the indoor introduction before we put them outside together. And I felt really another big blessing as I was walking by and just happened to catch them by accident and didn't really believe what I was seeing. I said, how did they figure this out? And it was just another incredible big day for us. And now all we have to hope for is fertility.
The citizens of Atlanta have many reasons to celebrate. In 1996, the world will come to Atlanta for the Olympic Games, and Zoo Atlanta and Willie B will no doubt continue to flourish.
Let us hope that the remarkable efforts that are being made are not too little or too late. For if they are, the loss of these remarkable species with whom we've shared our journey through evolution could very well be the bell that tolls for us. But education could be our greatest savior. It was best said by an African conservationist when he said, in the end, we will only conserve the things we love. We will only love the things we understand. And we will only understand the things we are taught.
For more information about Zoo Life magazine, call 1-800-777-0733. This has been a presentation of Bennett Productions in association with Zoo Life magazine, a division of the Ingle Publishing Company.